I'd like to talk about how to prolong the phrasing by prolonging the pedaling. And so before we talk about this, I'd like to talk about just a couple of more things. Students say that they did the correct pedaling, but that they still sound blurred. Most of the reason is that they think they're lifting pedal, but they don't lift all the way. Lift all the way, not just halfway, right? If you lift only halfway, you end up blending the sound from the previous bar to the bar that you're currently on. So it will sound really heavy and blurry. So make sure you lift all the way. Obviously not off the pedal, right? Make sure that it clears up the sound. You really need to listen carefully to your sound to see if it's clear or blurry. So you have to figure out how much you need to lift to clear up the sound, because every pedal, the condition and situations are different. So you have to practice the pedaling to see how much you need to lift up to clear up the sound, okay? And the other case is that they did all the correct pedaling, but they still sound really blurry. Most of the cases because their left hand is too heavy. So remember, the low sound decays slowly, slower than the high sound, also vibrating more than the high sound, right? In order to be able to play your left hand lightly, not heavy, you have to practice the left hand a lot. So most of the cases, they play left hand very heavy because they don't know the left hand very well. So one of the reasons they end up playing left hand very heavy. So make sure that you practice the left hand a lot. It has to be really fluent so you can play lightly, all right? And if you do the correct pedaling, if your left hand is heavy, then it will sound blurry. So this is where actually you don't need to change the pedal for whole bar because it's the left hand has the same chord, right? But if you play your left hand heavy, then it will sound still blurry. So right, it's the same chord, but because I played left hand heavy, it sounds blurred, right? So make sure you have a good balance with right? So you have to play your left hand really light and soft, especially when you have a trill and a scale type melody in the right hand. Otherwise, it will sound really blurry. So like this. Can you hear that, the blurry sound? So especially when you have a modern or you have a scale type melody in the right hand, you have to soften your left hand even more. All right. So having a good balance is very, very important. Okay, because a left hand plays a low register and sounds dark and low and deep, right? And vibrates more than sound decays slower than the right hand. So if you play left hand heavy, it will also sound very blurred. So make sure you practice the left hand well. So any sections where you're supposed to change the pedal, even though it's the same chord because it's such a long phrase, right? Actually, if you keep your left hand really soft, it's okay to hold one pedal. Right, so this is where I use one pedal, but if you play your left hand heavy, then it will sound really blurry, even though the harmony stays the same. So like here, right? So I'm playing my left hand heavy, and then now, even though it's the same harmony, the same bar, but still sounds very heavy and blurry. So make sure that you have a good balance, all right? Not just changing the pedal correctly, right? And use the pedal correctly, but also you need to know to have a good balance.